Okay, good morning. Let's start. Okay, some admin things. I put in the announcement that there is a walk-in consultation hours. Okay, for myself, and the walk-in means that you don't have to make appointment. Okay, don't have to send email to me. Just appear in my office. Okay, so the time is different for different weeks. In different weeks, so that to cater for sometimes there's a crash in your timetable. Okay, so any student can come here, come to see me. Don't have to be my tutorial groups. Okay, later on I also ask the tutor, the tutorial tutor, to set out their consultation hours. So they may do it in a different way. They may want to meet you in canteen or whatever. I left it for them to arrange. Okay. Yeah. So the consultation hour is 1 hour. I'll be there 1 hour. But usually, if I waited 30 minutes, no one appear, I will leave. Okay. So if you want to go to their sessions, make sure that you go before in the first half an hours. And also some bad news due to this flu situation, the health situations. So for the next few weeks, okay, I've requested the lecture to be webcast. Okay, so for this week and next week. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So because of that, I cannot tell a lot of jokes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, last week we cover a few important concepts. One of them is that, let me go to the slide first. Yeah, this one. Okay, so a lot of cipher encryption scheme is designed for fixed blocks. Okay, the AES, DES, and later on you know about RSA. They also designed for very short fixed size plain text. Okay. So in order to be used in practice, okay, the plain text could be very long, arbitrarily long, 7 GB, 8 GB, we do not know in advance. Okay, so we need a way to extend this fixed size cipher to arbitrary length. Okay, so the method to do it is called mode of operations. Mode of operations. Okay, the main idea is chop it into blocks. Take the plain text, chop it to fixed size blocks, and then apply the method in more operation to encrypt them. Okay, so illustrate that a simple method of encrypt each block independently, which is called electronic codebook (ECB), is not secure. So we need some method. One thing that we describe in our lectures is a CBC mode and a counter mode. Okay. And we also mentioned that counter mode is a very special type of cipher called stream cipher. So what is a stream cipher? This is a counter mode. This CBC, and this counter mode. Okay. So what is this? It belongs to a stream cipher. So what is a stream cipher? Stream cipher take a very short key, which is over here. Okay, let me. Okay, this is a very short key. Let's say this key is 128 bits. Okay, you take this short key and through some mechanism, some generation process, generate a very long pseudo sequence. Okay, this generation process, if it's using AES, is using AES counter mode to generate this very long sequence. After we get this very long sequence, this long sequence is to be XOR with the plain text to get the ciphertext. Okay, if an encryption scheme work in this manner, we call it a stream cipher. Stream cipher, and stream cipher is very useful. Why? Because we can pre-compute this long sequence beforehand, before the plain text arrive, and when the plain text arrive, we just XOR them and send. So can be used in real-time applications. Okay, and we also highlight that this sequence although called pseudo-random sequence, is not truly random. Okay, it's not probabilistic in the sense that if you for the same key, you will give the same sequence. Okay, so it's a fake one. It's fake random. So that's why we call it pseudo-random sequence. Okay, and it's not only pseudo-random. He have to meet certain property for security. So typically, to be distinguished from other pseudo-random sequence that you have learned in other classes, over here we stress on this term, cryptographically secure pseudo-random sequence. Fine? Okay. So after that, I also highlight that there's also yet another important concept is we know that for encryptions, okay, it's bad if the ciphertext is the same for the plain text for different encryptions. Okay, so we want to have this property that you give me a plain text for every different encryption of the same plain text and the same key, you will give different ciphertext. Okay, so this is to prevent some attacks that you have seen before. Okay, the Zebra and the electronic code book. Okay, so we want the encryption to be probabilistic. Okay, deterministic encryption means that you take in the key and the plain text, as long as they are the same, the ciphertext is the same. For probabilistic encryptions, even if the key is the same, the plain text is the same, well, for every encryption, very likely that the ciphertext is different. Okay, so how do we do that? It's very simple. The idea is to, during the generation process, okay, we purposely introduce some random number. Okay, so in this case, string cipher is using IV, initial value. Okay, the initial value is to be randomly generated. Okay, and to generate this long pseudo-random sequence is generated using the key and the IV. Okay, because the IV is different, so the ciphertext is different. Okay, if the IV and the ciphertext and the key is the same, the ciphertext will be the same. Okay, IV, plain text, and the key is the same, definitely the ciphertext is the same. This process is still deterministic. Fine? Okay, so this we have done this. Okay, and another important concept, okay, we mentioned last week is a notion of oracle. Oracle. Okay. To analyze a text, to analyze a system, okay, we have to model the setting or situation carefully, okay, or rigorously. So in a secure analysis, we typically pay attention to two important pieces of information. Okay, one is the what information the attacker have. Second one is what is the goal of the attacker. In terms of what type of information the attacker have, it could be, for example, files, some data. Okay, so attacker have this, and then the goal is to do that. Okay, these are piece of data given to the attacker. Okay. And there are some situations the information is not given like as it is. Then the attacker can get the information by interacting with a system. Okay, the attacker can interact with a system to get further information. Okay, so for example, he send in a password. He get the password, send to the system. System tell him whether the password is correct or wrong. Right? He get a piece of information. Right? Sending a password. He know whether this password is correct or wrong. And this one is done interactively. Right? He got to interact with a system, and the system tell him the result. Okay. So now, in order to model, to formulate this type of information the attacker have, we come up with a notion of a oracle. Oracle. Okay. Oracle is a very knowledgeable person. Whenever you ask him question, he will give you the reply. Okay. And in this case, the oracle may know some secret, okay, but you will not tell the query, the person who asks for the query, the secret. Okay, he will reply with a standard answer. Okay, a standard answer. Okay, for example, encryption oracle will do this. Encryption oracle have a secret key. You pass him any plain text, he will encrypt for you. You pass him any plain text, he will encrypt and pass the ciphertext to you, but he will not reveal the key. Okay. Now the question is this: suppose I have this oracle, can I guess the key? Okay, if the scheme is secure, you are not supposed to. Okay. And decryption oracle is the other way around. Okay. And we illustrate the example using a padding oracle. Okay, so what is a padding oracle? Padding oracle is the oracle who, given a ciphertext, can you hear me? Okay. Given a ciphertext, those seem to be working. Okay, can you hear me behind? Those, yes. Okay. So if given a ciphertext, the padding oracle will do this. He will decrypt it. He will decrypt the ciphertext, check whether the format of the plain text is correct. If it's correct, then he will say yes. Otherwise, he will say no. Okay. Okay. The oracle will not reveal the key. He will not reveal the plain text. Okay. So you pass in something. Okay. So you send him a ciphertext. He decrypt using the secret key. Check whether the format is correct. Okay. And if it's correct, say yes. Otherwise, say no. Okay. And what do you mean by correct format is correct? The padding format then depend on the padding oracle. The one we use is the one that follow this PKCS number 7 padding standard. Okay, so if the last byte is a 01 or 0202, 0303, 0404, then this is considered correct. Otherwise, it's considered no. Okay. So now in the padding oracle attacks, the attacker have the ciphertext. He captured a ciphertext, okay, and he have access to this oracle. The attacker job is to guess the plain text. Okay, so the attacker have to, if the scheme is designed securely, okay, it's a secure scheme, then he should not able to get the plain text. Okay. So in this case, because we are targeted as the CBC mode, AES CBC mode, it turned out that there's a way for the attacker to get the plain text. Okay. So how the attacker do the plain text? So attacker will run the algorithms. Attacker will run this algorithm. Okay, I double check, triple checks this algorithm is correct. Okay, yeah, it's written correctly. Okay. So the algorithm will do this. Okay, so you imagine you have to think adversary. Okay, in this course, a lot of time you have to put yourself in the shoe of attacker. Okay, you look at whatever you have and your goal. Okay, so you as an attacker, you have obtained a C. Okay, you have a C, a ciphertext, and you have obtained the IV. Okay, as an attacker, you have obtained these two pieces of information. And you can ask the oracle, the all-powerful oracle. Okay. And now your job is to find the plain text. So the way this attack works is this. He run exhaustively search. Right now, attacker just want to guess the value of the last byte, right? X5. Okay. Attacker want to guess the value x5. Okay. So the strategy is this. He exhaustively try t equals 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 255. Okay, there's a loop here. Okay, there's a loop here. He try for some candidate of t. He put in the t, okay, and do some magic, construct something, construct a query, and send this query to the oracle. Okay. Then he look at what is the response of oracle. Okay. If the oracle say yes, then he's very happy. He said he did know that he found the plain text, and then he used some way to compute the plain text. Okay. You can imagine that you are playing a games with have you played the games called Mastermind? Okay, Mastermind. Okay, some of you may not. Okay, Binary search, you know, right? Binary search is that your friends have some number in the mind, and then you want to guess. Okay, so you ask him, is this number bigger than 5? You say no. Okay, then you say, okay, is this number bigger than 2? He say no. Then you say, is this number 1? He say yes. Okay, right. So your friend is an oracle. Okay, and this is the loop that you are doing. Okay. As of how the padding oracle work, okay, it's the best, okay, that you take a piece of paper and pencil, okay, and run through this algorithm on some simple examples. Okay, some simple example. What is a simple example? For example, you say that, okay, you pretend that you know the value x5, the x5 is value 0. Okay, then you run through this, go through a few rounds, and then you can understand how the mechanism. This is one way to understand algorithm. Okay, if you first glance, you look at it, you don't really understand, then you take piece of paper and pencil, okay, and start to draw, start to trace. Fine. There is a tutorial question on this next week. Okay. Done? Okay. So if not, we go to the second lectures. Okay, we have done week 1 and week 2. They are all on encryptions. Encryption is to protect confidentiality of the information. Okay, and the next 3 weeks, in fact almost 4 weeks, we are going to focus on authentication. Okay, the first 2 is on confidentiality. This is encryptions. The next 3, in fact also part of 4, is on authentication. Okay. So let's do a very authentication process that most of us familiar with, which is the password system. Okay. And what is authentication? This is some examples. Okay. This is Obama birth certificate. Okay. When he become president, U.S. president, a lot of people question whether he can be a president. Because U.S. Constitution says that to be president, he had to be born in U.S. Right? So a lot of people question that, and then they look at their birth certificate, and they found that if you look at this, you look at these 2 square, digitized square, right? They are exactly the same in terms of pixel by pixel. Right? If you take a document, you scan it, usually a straight line will look a little bit randomness, right? There's some jagged edges here and look random, right? Then for these 2 boxes, okay, is exactly the same. Okay, so now the question is this: is this a Photoshop? Maybe Obama have a twins, okay, or whatever. Okay, so this one example of authenticity. Okay. And also this one also we get from the news. Okay, there are letters who come from presumably police department. Okay, if you receive this, then you have a question, right? Is this authentic? Okay. So basically, authentication is a process of assuring. Okay, you need a way to reason that whether the communicating entity you are talking to someone's or the origins of a piece of information is the one that it claims to be. Okay, so it's a process of assuring. Okay, you want a way to be assured that the information is correct. The person you talk to is authentic, is correct. And authenticity implies integrity. Okay, remember what is integrity? Integrity means that the data has not been tampered with. if the data sources is correct, everything is authentic, then imply that it had not been tampered with. Okay. So there are two examples, okay, two forms, okay, authentication we are going to look at in these lectures. There are two forms. One form is that there is a communication channel. It involves a few parties talking to each other. We call this party entities. Okay, in this case, Alice is talking to Bob. So, for example, Alice received a phone call, okay, and then the other side claim that they are from the police, okay, from the police. Then Alice may wonder, is this the real police coming from real police department? Okay, and Alice log in, okay, at home, log into Luminous, okay, and then Alice's laptop is talking to a Luminous server, right? Then the question is this: how does the laptop, or Alice will wonder, are they actually talking to the real server in NUS or some server in some other country or some hacker server rooms, right? Okay, so this is the authenticity of the server. Okay. On the other hand, from the server point of view, okay, this is a Luminous server, right? He's talking, someone came in and claimed to be Alice. How does he know that the person he talked to is Alice? Okay, trying to authenticating Alice. And suppose you are in the Kent Ridge bus stop. Okay, the shuttle bus sometimes take a lot. Shuttle bus is very frequent but cannot get out. Okay, so you want to check your lectures or whatever. Then, oh, lucky you look at it. There is Wi-Fi NUS. Okay, you go to Wi-Fi. There's someone say that he's NUS, right? Oh, very happy. Free Wi-Fi, so you connect to it. After you connect to it, ask for password. You happily key in your NUS ID and NUS password. Okay. After you key in, then we wonder, is this Wi-Fi really coming from NUS? Right? You know that everyone can set up a hotspot, and can be the hotspot name can be chosen by the person who set it up. Okay, the most popular name I can see is that this is not your Wi-Fi, something like that. Okay, this is my Wi-Fi. Okay, so you can set out any names. Okay, so Alice connect to this so-called hotspot and key in her user ID and password. Okay, could it be the case that this is set up by some hacker who want to steal the password? Okay. So there's an authenticity issue, right? How does Alice, or how does your mobile phone authenticate that hotspot is what he claimed to be, which is NUS? Okay, so this is an authenticity issue. Okay, so in this case, there's two communicating parties. Okay, the issue is more of I want to know whether the person I talk to is whom he claimed to be. There are cases on data. Okay, for example, Bob submit a MC to me. Okay, say that he was unfit for exam. Okay, now the question I have in mind is was the certificate authentic? Did Bob modify the MC? Right? Whether this piece of document is coming from the clinic. And now, okay, another examples, okay, is Alice downloaded PayLah, okay, so that can use a cashless payment, right? Alice downloaded PayLah from some app store. After downloaded it, key in her password in a DBS and so on. Okay, so at that point, Alice, or have you been wonder whether the apps that is downloaded indeed is coming from DBS? Okay, for example, Alice may download some apps which called DB dollar Payla. Okay. Okay, you saw there's a apps, okay, somewhere called DB Dollar Payla. Okay, so downloaded it, look like DBS red color, and then key in her password. All right. So the question is this DB Dollar Payla really coming from DBS? Okay. So this is about a authenticity issue of that piece of information. Okay. Have you wondered this? If you are in this class doing InfoSec, okay, security, occasionally you have to think about this issue. You, in some sense, have to be think adversary. Okay, think that you're an attacker, right? So a lot of information, we trust it by default, right? Okay, but are these really trustworthy? Okay, yeah. So authentication in this module, okay, yeah. So we consider these two types of setting. One setting is in the communication. Okay, want to authenticate the person I talk to is whom he claimed to be, and the other one is when I have a piece of information, a piece of data, I want to check whether it's come from someone who claimed the owner who claimed to be. Okay, for entity authentications, okay, the mechanism we use is using a challenge and response and some protocol. Okay, so because we are interacting with him, so we can use some challenge and response and protocol to find out whether that person is authentic, right? Password system. Okay, for data origin authentication, we want to look at a piece of data, see whether it's coming from that person. The mechanism we use is what we call MAC, MAC, Message Authentication Code, or digital signature. We are going to talk about it later. Okay, next week. Okay. So let's look at a very simple one, a password. Okay, everyone familiar. It's not simple, but I think most of us familiar with password. Okay, yeah. So passwords, you look at it, there are actually two phases. Okay, first, there is a bootstrap process where we establish the password. Okay, so when you join NUS, I don't know how you get it because I do it many years ago. You probably receive a letter telling you your password, or you go to a counter, right? You go to a counter to register your password. Okay, so that is a bootstrapping process where the user establishes a common password. Okay, and then after that, there is an authentication process. There's an authentication process. That means that when the user or the client want to get in, the server asks for the password. Okay, and okay, so the authentication process is done in this way, very simple. The user will go to the tell the server, okay, my name is this. Okay, I have a name. My name is this. And the server will ask, what is your password? And the user reply, open sesame. And the server verify whether the password is correct. Okay, so there are two pieces of information, the names, the ID, and the password. Okay, so this is an interactive process. Okay. For passwords, it can be used in a non-interactive way. Right? For example, like you send an SMS to a server, you say that my name is this, my password is this, and then tell him the instruction. Right? So it's non-interactive. Okay. So some password system doesn't have ID, only have the password. For example, that you go to you have a digital lock for your home, you just key in the password, right? And the process of setting out the password, okay, one of them is very troublesome to set out a password to get to a counter and so on. Then they have a default password in the beginning. After you get a default password, after you first log in, then the user is supposed to change the password. Okay. So for this process, okay, authentication process, you can see that the server must keep the information of user ID and password. And this, we call it the passwords files. Okay, passwords files. So this file keep all the ID and the password. Okay. So Alice come in, then you can check. Okay, fine. This is easy. This type of authentication, password authentication, okay, sometimes we call it weak authentication. What do you mean by weak authentication? Weak authentication is one whereby you can is vulnerable to replay attacks. So what is a replay attack? So you imagine that there is the attacker is here. It's smiling, okay. So attacker is here, okay. So he said, "I'm Alice." The guy, "What is your password?" Alice said, "Open Sesame." Okay. Then this guy capture this message, capture these two message. Okay, capture these two message. So in the next session, the attacker replay. He play exactly the same thing to the server. Okay. Then the attacker say, "I'm Alice." The guy asks, "What's your password?" Open Sesame. Then access granted. Okay. So a simple replay attacks were able to gain access. Okay. So a lot of us have done national service, right? So in the army, what is the password authentication? So you go to the guardhouse, you shout out very loud, right? Happy. Then the other guy, this is a challenge, okay? Someone come in, then take out your rifle, say happy. And that guy is supposed to shout, for example, Friday. Then correct. Get in. Okay? So this is a challenge response, and this is vulnerable to replay attacks because enemy who sit there shout so loud, everyone can hear it. Okay, next time he just come in and say, when he say happy, then he says say Friday. Okay, fine, yeah. So that's why it's called weak authentication. Now it's very interesting. Then what is not a weak authentication? A non-weak authentication is a strong authentication. Okay, strong authentication, which we are going to do next week. You are able to achieve this. Okay, Alice come in. Alice has some passwords. Okay, server. Then they start to talk to each other. Okay, and then after the session completed, okay, the server will know. Yes, I'm convinced that Alice knows the password. Okay, so these two persons get together, they interact with each other, okay, and after that, server will say that yes, I'm convinced that the Alice knows the password. This guy who hide in the bush, okay, overhearing the conversation, still have no clue what is the password. Okay, and cannot use it to replay. Okay, that is called strong authentication, which we are going to do it next week. Fine. Okay. So passwords are so far. Right now, what we have is a simple replay attacks. Okay, simple weak authentication vulnerable to replay attacks. Okay. So attack on password system. Okay, beside the which include that. Okay. So how is attacker want to attack the password system? Okay, how do they attack? So we will describe three ways here. Okay, one is attack the bootstrapping process. The other one is search for the correct password. The other one is to steal the password. Okay, bootstrapping. Okay, so attacker may intercept the password during the process. For example, if the password is sent through postal mail, the postman attacker can steal the mail and get the password. Okay. Have you received password through the paper mails? Like when you apply for a banking account, I guess you have, right? Or SingPass, or you get your A-level or O-level result. Okay, then you need to log in, then you get the password, right? So have you seen that the letter, the envelopes? There's a lot of pattern behind. The envelope is not plain color. There's a lot of little pattern here and there. So why is that so? Why the envelope have a lot of pattern, okay, rather than a plain piece of paper? That is to prevent what? Prevent these attacks, okay? Where someone take the letter and do this and see the password, right? Okay, if you don't have those patterns, you put, oh, you can see a password, okay? So that is to prevent someone intercept the password in this way, okay? Another popular one, okay, in the IT world, in the cyber world, will be using the default password. Default password. Okay, many devices come with default password. Okay, why? If it's not default password, will be very troublesome. Very troublesome. If suppose you want to buy, let's say, watches, smartwatch, or router, or camera, IP camera, that doesn't come with a default password. That means that the password had to be written somewhere. Okay, so the manufacturer had to print that password somewhere. Okay, so added more complication in the packaging process. Okay, then after the consumer got the device, very often they cannot find the password. If they cannot find a password, they have to call the help desk. Then you call the help desk, the guy is not friendly. Then the customer become very angry. Okay, I cannot find the password. Okay, it's in the box. The box so many words. Right. Okay, so will create a lot of issue. Okay, so for usability and for the cut cost, many devices come with a default password. Okay. And many users did not change the default password. Okay. So example is this one. The default password is 68. Okay. 8888. So likely this is manufactured in China, Hong Kong, or Taiwan. Okay, only Chinese like the character 8, right? So or Singapore. Okay. So yesterday I took a Grab. The car number is 8889. Okay, so he said he spent $1,000 to get it. Okay, anyway, okay. So now imagine that you have a camera installed, okay, over your house, looking to your house to check that no thief coming into your garden or whatever, okay, and the default password is 8888 and you did not change it, okay. So then the thief who want to go to your house, very easy, he log into your camera and see whether anyone there, no one there, and then he comes to your home. Okay, yeah. So okay, anyway, many camera use default passwords. And this was exploited, it's quite well known, this type of attack is quite well known, okay? And I remember many years ago, there's even a website giving all the IP address of camera with default password. Okay, there's a website, you go there, or list down all this all camera have default password. When you click in, then you can see, oh, there are people running around, things like that. Okay, yeah. And it become more well known, okay, due to this attack called Mirai attacks. Okay, so this is a red color, and you click and read it. This is a DDoS attacks. Okay, and there's many things interesting about these attacks. Okay, one, of course, he used default password. Okay, he used default password to log into the camera, and from the camera, launch DDoS attacks. Okay, so log into many cameras, the camera launch the DDoS attacks. So this is one of the first well-known example where it's attack based on the IoT device, right? You use the IoT device to launch a DDoS attacks. Okay, and you also break the record at that time in terms of the number of bandwidth generated. Okay, but that record very fast. Okay, broken by other people. Okay, yeah. So take a look on this. Okay, yeah. Okay, I just mentioned this. Okay, many devices are shipped with default password. Why? Due to cost cutting and usability issue. Okay, usability. Okay, if not, the user will be very frustrated. Okay, they cannot find a password and so on. Okay, next way is to search for the password. How to search for a password? First one is to guess the password from social information. Okay, that's why. Okay, the Facebook account better don't make it public. Okay, the password likely could be your boyfriend names, your favorite K-pop band names, Super Junior. Okay, Super Junior love LLL. Okay, or something like that. Okay, so guess from the social information. Okay, gather from the, for someone who doesn't know you, like hacker, they'll go to your Facebook, try to gather and other means. Okay, for friends, okay, you also do it. Okay, do it for your friends. You know that, okay, she likes Super Junior or AKB48 or Doraemon or something like that. Okay, yeah. And phone numbers, okay. Okay, the other one is called dictionary attacks. Okay, so attacker, one way to attack is this. Okay, try like using the exhaustive search. Okay, password usually is short. Try to use the exhaustive search. So 10 characters, you try all possible 10 characters. Okay, and next you'll find that this method will be very slow. Okay, after all, passwords are human generated. Human generated usually will not be completely random. Okay, it will be words or like I said, some social informations. So the way to do it is that the what we call it dictionary attacks. Instead of testing starting from 000, 001, 002 or A, B, A, C, A, D, okay, take words from the dictionary, okay, and test. And try different combination of words from the dictionary and test. Okay, so this is called dictionary attacks. Okay, you can go online to download so-called password dictionary. Just go there. I think it's very easy. You just search. Okay, you can find a file that is not only English words but also some popular passwords. Okay, so you based on that and do a combination of those to attacks. And so this is called dictionary attacks. Okay, yeah. So you combine them with some exhaustive search. For example, you take the word, like just now I said, Super Junior, put it behind 1, Super Junior 2, Super Junior 3. Okay, and also may want to substitute things like this at, substitute S with a $sign, and so on. Okay, yeah. So I don't know how they get the password. Okay, this is they publish. Okay, in 2014, popular password. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 is the top password being used. The other is password. QWETY. You know why it's QWETY, right? Because on the keyboard, top row is QWERTY, right? ERTY. Okay. Dragon. Okay. This year could be red or Mickey Mouse. Okay, Mickey Mouse could be a popular password for this year. Okay, and so on. Okay, yeah. So there are two ways of carrying out dictionary attacks. Okay, there's some crucial implication on that. Okay, there's crucial implication. Okay, one is this. Okay, attacker want to guess your password. They do online dictionary attacks. Okay, you know your user ID, take the user ID, take words in the dictionary, and then test. Then key in that, ask the server. Server will say yes or no, right? They do this test. Okay, or you come to this machine, try to log in. Okay, you interact with the server for every guess. Okay, for you guess, you make one candidate, ask the server whether it's correct or not. He said, and then keep trying it. Okay, so this is called online dictionary attacks. Or online dictionary attacks. Okay, there's another attack. Okay, is this. Okay, the attacker somehow is able to get some data, some information about a password. Okay, for example, he steals the password file which is being encrypted. Okay, we have mentioned that later. Okay, somehow he gets some information about the password. Okay, after he gets the information, then he don't interact with the system anymore. He take this piece of data, go home, put into his server or laptops, and then try to guess. Okay, and now he can do many times. Okay, so this is called offline dictionary attacks. First one is online attacks. Second line is offline attacks. The crucial difference is this: for online attacks, the number of tries is controlled by the server. Okay, and the server can be purposely respond slowly, so you cannot make a lot of guess. Right? You have used password system before, right? After 7 guesses wrong, then they will say that okay, wait for 5 more minutes, then you come back. Right? Okay. So for online attacks, you cannot make a lot of attempts. For offline attacks, that depends on the speed of your computers. Right? Okay. So this have an implication on the password strength. Okay. For the first one, okay, which I later mention later, the recommendation that your password strength or the entropy should be around 30 bits or 10 character wrong, around that. Okay. For the second one, because you're testing against the computer, you have to be longer, and if we follow the NIST recommendation of the key length, it has to be 128 bits. Okay, 20 bits for the entropies. Okay, yeah. So there's a tutorial question on this. Okay, but we'll do it 2 weeks later, because the tutorial question involves something called SHA. So we're not able to do it next week, but I still put it in the tutorial question. We just skip that during the tutorial. Fine? Okay, this the third one. Okay, these are all guessing. Okay, these are all very gentlemen. Okay, they guess. Okay, very passively go guess. Okay, the next method is to steal. Okay, I don't guess, I go to steal. Okay, actively, maliciously go to steal the password. Okay, the easiest way to steal is what we call look over the shoulder attacks. Okay, so someone in the MRT key in the password, and you just do this. Steal the password. Okay. In general, or the other one is to sniff the communication. Like just now I said the replay attacks. There's an attacker hide in the bush, overheard the conversation, and then sniff the information. All right. So there's many systems. The legacy, the old system, when they first designed, they actually send the password over the network in clear. So for example, things like HTTP, Telnet, FTP, these are some protocol that they actually send the password in clear. Okay, and anyone who intercept the communication can get the password. Okay, and now we have a secure version of this. It's got, for example, SFTP, SSH, and HTTPS. Okay, HTTPS. Okay. So the other method is to sniff the wireless keyboard. Okay, so this keyboard have a wired, that we know that there's a wireless keyboard, right? So you sniff the communication, the encryption. As for some keyboard, the encryption is badly done. They do not use very strong encryption. Then you can break the encryption scheme and get the password. Okay. This one is using sound made by keyboard. Okay, so you take a keyboard, okay, you try to strike it, okay, you figure out that the sound is slightly different. Okay, sound like this. Okay, it's different, and the interval also different. Okay, for example, if a ta 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 ta, that means that the 4 ta 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 probably is something like QWER capital P, something like that, right? Okay, so this will you will not completely give you guess the password, but will limit the search, help you to cut down the search space. Okay, so you can take a look, and then there's a terminology called side channel attacks. Side channel attacks are attacks that use information in the physical world in some sense. Okay, some information that has not been considered during the design. Okay, and information that only generated due to the way it's implemented. So in this case, it's a sound of the keyboard. The other one is using keylogger and virus. Okay, so there are two versions of keylogger. One is a software-based, one is hardware-based. Software-based, usually they are virus. Okay, they are, for example, let's say some JavaScript. Okay, some website, if the browser is not secure, you may download some JavaScript. Then the JavaScript will able to capture the keystroke and then send back to the attacker. Okay, these are virus. And there are also hardware keylogger, which is this one. Okay, so this is quite old, using the serial port. Okay, but it explains everything. This is the cable for the actual keyboard. Okay, this is a cable, and the attacker just treat this one. Okay, so assume that the attacker before the lecture come in and plug this out, put in something which is a keylogger. Okay, this is put into the malicious device and then put into this desktop. Okay, so whatever been keyed here, okay, will be captured by this. So later on, the attacker can come here and retrieve this, or this is wirelessly sent to the attacker. Okay, fine. Yeah. So this attack is real, very popular. I think it happened to SMU a few years ago, and my friends in other university also told me that they also got this once. Okay, so come here to steal the lecture password. That's why initially I reluctantly, I don't want to use this desktop, but because of webcast, okay, so I have to use desktop. Okay, desktop. Okay, fine. Yeah. And there are better version. Okay, that's why the desktop here is locked. It's locked. Okay, but just now I come here and take a look. Actually, it's not locked. The lock is there, but I can open it. Okay, yeah. So there's a better version of it. Okay, you probably can Google, buy from Taobao or whatever. Okay, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. It's a wrapper, okay, a device that wrap over the cable. Okay, that means the cable. Imagine it's the cable. You wrap it across here. Okay, by wrapping it across here, he can measure the electronic magnetic wave, okay, emitted by the cable, okay, and from here guess the keystroke, okay. So there are also a version like that, okay. This EM wave is reveal a lot of information. I also saw one demo before. So there's a desktop here. Someone sending let's say 10 feet or 4 or 5 meters away. You cannot see the display, but from the EM wave emitted by the cable reconstruct the screen. Okay. So I saw a demo of that before on the ATM machine. Okay. So the ATM machine is a fancy one. When you key in the keypad, okay, they will show the display 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 9. When you press it, then it will light out, right? The color will be different, right? You press a digit, the color will be different. So that guy who showed the demo, he do this, then the person will key in his pin, then he can capture the pin from about 4 or 5 meters away. Okay, yeah. That's from the EM wave emitted from the cable, okay, device. On the monitor also, yeah. Okay, the other one is less popular now. I don't know why. Okay, it's called lock-in spoofing. Okay, that was many years ago when I was a student undergrad. We like to play this game. Okay, so we don't use desktop, laptop. Everyone bring a laptop. We use a mini computer, right? As a computer with a lot of monitor and so on. So when you do a homework, you have to go to a lab to do it. So we like to play. Okay, play this trick to our friends. Okay, we write a program that display the login screen. Okay, then the person will go in, then he'll key in the password. Okay, key in the password, and then we capture the password. Okay, and that was many years ago. After you've done this, everyone have a good laugh. Ha ha ha! The lecturer come in and say, "Oh, this guy very smart." Right? Okay, but you cannot do it now. Okay, you do it now, immediately police report. Okay, yeah. Okay, there's a difference between 30 years ago and right now. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it was quite popular last time. That's why if you use the Windows system, Windows NT system, there's something called Control Alternate Delete. Okay, to log in, you have to press Control Alternate Delete. Then the screen will come out. You log in. Why? Because Control Alternate Delete will kill the process. You kill the process. Okay, someone come with process, Control Alternate Delete process. Fine? Yeah. So, but for some reason, I don't know why this is not practiced now. Okay, because having this Control Alternate Delete is also bad. For example, imagine that if the ATM is using the OS with these features, anyone go to the ATM machine, press Control Alternate Delete, will kill the process, and then can run from the root. Okay. Yeah, so that is also an issue, right? Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. This is the most important one. Although it's only 2 slides, but don't underestimate this. Okay, only few slides. Very simple. Phishing attacks. Okay. I don't have to explain. I think most of you know what is phishing attacks. Okay. The user, attacker send an email to the user, trick the user to log in, okay? To click a button. If you click it, you'll go to some website, and then the user will log in. After the user log in, the attacker capture the password. Okay. There's another version is that you click it, you download a file and run the file. Okay. Right now, let's focus on the login one. You click it, direct to a fake server, key in the password. Okay. So this phishing attacks. Very simple. And there's one version, okay, is called spear phishing or targeted phishing. Okay. In this case, in the normal phishing is let me use the word Chinese words called 渔翁撒网. That means the fisherman throw a net to catch a fish. Okay, he casts a net. He doesn't know who will come. He just casts a net. Whatever fish he will just catch. Okay. All right. Targeted phishing or spear phishing is an attacker target at a particular group of person or even individual. Okay. So this is one example that is targeted at NUS user, okay, NUS student and staff. Okay, so it comes from IT care, and then someone just log in via the name. Okay, somehow you're able to get your names. Okay, and then someone had just signed to your account. We have stopped the sign attempt. This is from Russia. Wow, sounds very convincing. And then you are advised to change your password, change NUS net password, and log in, and say that all this we have to be careful about phishing or whatever. Okay, okay, very targeted to this group of people. It can be even more. For example, targeted as lecturer. Okay, after the exam, you know that as a lecturer had to submit the mark through some system. You also know the name of the mark system. Okay, so you send an email, dear what and what, you just submitted the mark, but somehow there's some problem. Can you resubmit? Okay, so the person, the lecturer, looks so real, right? Because I just submitted a mark. Okay, and then you ask me to resubmit. So then treat me to it. Okay, and sometimes impose fear. Okay. It's coming from the head of department. Head of department, dear whoever, we know that you always been very late in submitting the mark. Can you do it immediately? Okay, do it through this link. Okay, they get off. Okay, it's late, right? The deadline. The deadline of mark submission is approaching. Okay, you haven't do it yet. Okay, so these are targeted attacks. Okay, targeted attacks, and the purpose is to steal the password. Okay, so I over here ask you to read. I think there's something called read. Okay, where is that? Read. Okay, read semantic report on spear phishing, the statistic. Okay, it turned out that for attacker, suppose I'm an attacker, I want to compromise, I want to steal some information from these organizations. Okay, the first everything they have a firewall and so on and so on. They have protection very well. So the attacker somehow have to gain a foothold or bridgehead or whatever you call it. He had to able to get into a network first. Okay, network first. And what is the best way to get in the network? It turned out that the most effective way is through phishing. Phishing, okay? It's not using very high tech or whatever, using what we call zero-day vulnerability, is to use phishing. Okay. Example is the SingHealth cases. You heard of SingHealth cases, right? SingHealth breach is also through phishing. And the Bangladesh Bank, Central Bank. Bangladesh Central Bank almost lost hundreds of millions of dollars, okay, through by attacks. Okay, that one is a break the record. Okay, I think not, right now I think still have 80 million. Not they are unable to recover. Okay, poor thing. Okay, so it's also the as attacker get in through phishing first, or they get in through phishing, then they do subsequent. Okay, so it's a most low tech attacks and very successful, very effective. Okay. So computer science graduate. Okay, yeah. So you have to be very particularly careful about this. Okay, and NUS, I believe you're already aware of that. We carry out this one type of prevention mechanism called phishing exercise, embedded phishing exercise. That means that we send out, not we, they send out email to you and me, okay, phishing, okay, and then see whether you click. If you click it, you give them the password, then they will nicely tell you something, okay, maybe go for courses or whatever. Okay, so this is similar to firewall drill. This is similar to firewall drill. There are even companies set out to do this exercise for others, right? There are some company, consultant firm, okay, they carry out the exercise, okay? And the other one is through user education, okay? And there are some sites, okay, to list down all the possible phishing sites, okay? Okay, let me quickly go through. Okay, the other one is cache. Okay, some internet cafe or in the airport. You may see some browser free to use, and then someone may key in the password there, and then the password stored in the cache. Okay, and insiders attacks. This is a very common attacks. That means the attacker actually coming from the organization itself. Okay, so that's why he knows the password. Okay, and because of that, he steal the password file. Okay, password file. Okay, where's the? Okay, password file is being leaked. Okay, and there are many ways password file is leaked. One is the insider steal it, and the other one could be is that when the server sent for repair, servicing, or something wrong to the server, it's sent for servicing, then the password file being stolen by the service department. Okay, or when you dispose the hard disk, okay, dispose the hard disk, then the Ganaguni guy, Ganaguni is Singapore, the trade of doing the recycling, okay, Ganaguni, okay, steal the password. Okay, there is some solution or device in the market on how to dispose hard disk. Okay, I saw one, it was very amazing. So how do they erase the hard disk data in the hard disk? That solution is really good. He have a big hammer and just like that. We say, wow, this is the best way. Okay. So, okay. Anyway, okay. So let's take 5 minutes break. Okay, and then we continue next. Okay. Okay, let's go back to lectures. Okay. So for the password system, okay, so now let's talk about preventive measure. Okay, first one is use strong password. We require the user to select strong password. So strong password, the strongest password has to be chosen randomly by a truly random process. Okay, but is for to be used by human is very difficult to remember. Okay, so for example, you may use some system, they generate some password for you, and the password look like something like this, right? Which is very difficult to remember. Okay, so humans were able to remember a sequence of event rather than a purely random characters. And there are methods to help us to remember things. Okay, one of them is using a phrase. You take a phrase and take the first character of every words. So this one is, I forgot I think it's, please be my best Valentine. Please, so then this one. Okay, so please be my, I think, best Valentine. Okay, so you can choose any phrase you like. Okay, this CS 2107 lecturer don't know what he is talking about. Okay. Take every word from there, put together. Okay, so it's easier to remember. Okay, so this popular method. This one is the most popular method. Okay, so try to do things like that. Okay, yeah. Avoid using a phone number or something that can get from your social media. Okay, yeah. And there is usability also. You use strong password, sometimes it's very good to use, especially on a mobile phone. Have you tried to key in password using mobile phone? Oh, that is terrible, right? Okay, and so there are also alternatives, okay, for mobile phone. For example, using graphical or gestures based. Okay, okay. So this is a way to calculate the number of bits of a password or the entropy. Okay, so the number of bits you can imagine is the number of bits required to represent the password. So for digit is 0 to 9. So how many bits is required to represent 0 to 9? About 3 bits. Okay, in fact, you need 4 bits to do it. Okay, so 3.3 is because we use a log base 2 as an estimation. Okay, yeah. So you have a sequence of, let's say, 20. If you have 10 digits, then the entropy is 33. Okay, rather than 40. Right? You say that one digit is 4 bits, then 10 digit is 40, but it's not. Okay, because a 10 digits sequence can be represented using around 33 bits. Okay, yeah. And so you can read from here. Yeah. So what is a guide? So now we know. So how long is sufficient? Okay, how many bits required is sufficient? Okay, so a human-generated password do not really have the full entropy because it's much less than that. Because human, you generate your generation process is not purely random, right? So you know that you want to play paper, scissors, stone with a computer, you will likely, on average, will lose to the computer. Why? The computer using AI or machine learning try to guess the way you come up with the sequence. So human, okay, you even paper, scissors, stone, okay, it's not truly random, not truly random, okay. Yeah. So now give us difficulty. How do I estimate the entropy, number of bits? NIST, okay, come out a document, okay, of how to estimate the entropy. So it's just a guideline. Okay, I read it. You can read it. Okay, it says maybe number is only 2 bits instead of 3 bits, and so on. Okay, so it gives some guideline. And okay, suppose we have a way to measure the number of bits in the password, then how many bits is required? So the RFC, request for comment, okay. You know, all you know what is RFC, right? RFC stands for request for comment, okay. It's some standard for internet, okay. So there's a standard, it's a 4086, okay. Randomness required for security. He suggests that should be at least 29 bits. Okay, at least 29 bits. Okay, that means 30 bits to be secure against online attacks. Online attacks means the attacker make a guess, ask the system. Okay, for offline attacks, their recommendation is 96 bit. Their recommendation, the document says 96 bit. Okay, but the new NIST recommendation for crypto is 128 bits. So to be on the safe side, you choose 128 bits. Okay. So there are also password policy. Okay. Many systems, for example, scan for weak passwords, and then some system or some organization require regular change of passwords. Okay. For example, they say that every 6 months you must change the password, or every 1 year you have to change the password. Okay, so this is controversial. Okay, this policy is controversial. Okay, it's not clear if you ask people to change their password regularly, it will become more secure or less secure. Because if a person is asked to change password regularly, likely he will take the old password and have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 behind. Okay, and then they forget the password and so on, and then even make things worse. Okay, fine, yeah. Okay, this one we have to talk about it next week. Or okay, is this password is very important. Okay, in fact, most file in the system, every file, every data in the system is very important, right? Like in Singapore, every school is a good school. Okay, okay, yeah. So every file is very important, okay? But there are some files more important. Which files? Okay, password files, okay? Because if password file is being leaked, okay, so all the password is leaked, people can log in. And this thing do happen before, okay? It's not that had not happened before. Facebook, okay, is it Facebook? LinkedIn, okay? And many, I think Facebook also. I don't remember. Okay, okay. So their password file somehow been leaked, being hacked or so on. So because of that, okay, additional protection is required for password file. Okay. So how do we protect the password file? Is something what they call the sorted hash, which we are going to talk about next week. Okay, because we haven't done hash now. Fine. Okay. Yeah. So. One, okay. Oh, this how Facebook protect the password. So many hashes. Okay, I'll talk about it next week. Okay. So you may have also encountered this thing called security questions, right? You forget the password, then they ask you some question, you answer the question correctly, then you get your password back. Okay. So security question can be viewed as a mechanism for fallback authentication or self-service password reset. Okay, but without this security question, if you forget a password, what should you do? You have to call the help desk, talk to the person, change the password, then he had to authenticate you and so on. Very troublesome, very costly. So this is a self-service password reset. Okay, and security question doesn't make the system more secure. In fact, it makes the system less secure. Right? It is a way to make it more usable, okay, on the expense of security. Okay, attacker, of course, they can guess your security question and then get it in. Okay, yeah. So it enhances usability, reduce cost, and weaken the security. Okay, so how to design a security question? Okay, this one you can take a look and then read this. I'll not go through this. Okay, easy to remember and so on. Okay, yeah. Let's look at one example on ATM. Okay, ATM where you use ATM card to get your cash. Okay, basically you have to present a card and then key in your PIN. The card actually give information of the user ID. Use this card, the magnetic stripe here, okay, is just to make the process of keying in your user ID easier. Instead of you key in the ID, you slot in the card, the machine read your user ID. Okay, you do it this way. Okay, the card is just store your user ID so that it's easier for you to key in the user ID. The only secret is the PIN. It's the PIN. It's a PIN number. The PIN number plays the role of a password. Okay, password. So anyone who get hold of this card, okay, can read the information here. So this thing cannot be treated as a secret. You pass anyone the card, okay. For example, you want to use net, you go to a counter, you pass to him, you slot it in, the machine will able to read the information here. After the information here is read, it can be easily write into another card. Okay, you can buy a card from eBay, okay, and then let's write it. Okay, so it look more like an ATM card. So only secret is the PIN. Okay. So have you heard of ATM skimmer? I think many of you probably have heard of it. Okay, ATM skimmer. You look at these pictures. Is this? So you look at this ATM machine. Look very nice. Okay, and okay, maybe before this, let me tell the first version of ATM skimming. Okay, the first version of ATM skimming is not like this. Okay, it will be the attacker. They rent rent a space in the shopping mall, and then they put in the fake machine there. Okay, and then the victim will go to the machine, slot in the card. They read the information from the card. The user key in the PIN. They get the PIN, and then they reply, "Oh, sorry, no cash." So the user will go away, right? But then they steal the PIN and steal the magnetic stripe information, and then later on they can manufacture, they can forge a lot of cards and then go to other machine to get the money. Okay, so this is the first version. After a while, the attacker also gets smart. Okay? They say, why bother get rent a space and book a machine there? They do this version, okay, called ATM skimming. So this is a compromised ATM teller machine. Okay, over here, this is a place that you slot the card. You slot the card, right? Okay, and you look at this. You can open this out. Okay. Oh, this is the actual one. This is the actual one. This is an extra piece of equipment put in by the attacker. Okay. So now, anyone who slot in the card will go through this reader first before it go to the actual one, right? So this piece of thing, okay, gadget here, read the magnetic stripe information before it's slot to the original one. So he get the information on the magnetic stripe. Okay. Next is what? How to get the PIN. How to get the PIN. Okay. So on top here, you open out. There is a mobile phone here. Okay. The mobile phone have a camera. So if a user key in the PIN, you will capture video, and then because it's a mobile phone, he can send this information to the attacker. Okay, the attacker, even though have to come back in another version, earlier version, they have to come back to retrieve the equipment. This one they don't have to. Okay, it's just send across. Okay, so this ATM skimming. Okay, it's still very popular in many places. In some interesting, you can take a look at this guy. Okay, it's not only ATM, he can put it in this net machine. Okay, and so on. And this is a measure. Okay, that means to prevent that. Okay, so in order to prevent that, we have this anti-skimmer device. So you look at some ATM machine, they put some think block or whatever to prevent someone to put something on top, showing the keypad. Okay, I think most important is awareness among user, and regularly check your account. Okay, see, okay, fine. Right? This version seems not to be very good because I don't know whether this is a screw or what. If this is a screw, then you can just take a screwdriver and take it out. Right? Right. So and it also appeared before that it's not on the schema, is that someone hired a waiter or waitress or cashier, okay, at for example 7-Eleven, when you want to buy something using net, okay, pass to it, slot into a machine and key in a pin. Then the first reader is a fake one. Okay, so they read in the pin, then the cashier will say, oh, it's not working, can you try one more times? And they pass you the real one. Then through this they capture your pin. Okay. Many years ago, indeed one of our students tried this out, and then he had to spend some time in Changi. Okay. So so don't try this. You have to know that all this is done by organized crime, because after you get the information, you must know how to make use of it. Okay. So you get the information, then straight away the police come here. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So very quickly we'll go through another thing called biometrics. Okay. Biometric, you can see, is also another form of password, but have a very different in nature. Okay. So just show them what is a biometric. This is a fingerprint, right? This is a fingerprint. Okay. So first you scan a fingerprint. Okay, this is one scan of fingerprint, and this is another scan of fingerprint. You can treat fingerprint as a password. Okay, you scan a fingerprint, store it in a template, okay, in a password file. Next time you scan again, they match. Okay. So for fingerprint, do you know how do we know that this two is a match? Does the system look at the pattern of the how do you call it, the ridge line go, or whether it's a circle or multiple hue or something like that? Okay. In fact, it's not. Okay. The way they compare is something called using minutiae. You look at the ridge line. The ridge line will have a sometimes you appear like that. Okay. And sometimes the ridge line will appear like this. Right. I look in the detail. Okay. And then this is a feature point. Okay, it's one positive, one negative, or whatever. Okay, so what they do is that from a fingerprint, identify all these points, and the position of this point are unique. Okay, I don't remember the number. I think it's in the U.S. court. Okay, if they have 8 matches or 18 matches, then it's sufficient to say that this person is a criminal. Okay, yeah. So this is how they do it. They capture all these points. Okay, so this is a point captured during the one scan. This is a point captured during 2 scans, and then they try to match. Because the way we press is slightly different, these 2 points will be different. During the first scan and second scan will be different. Okay, but they use some matching algorithms. Then they count how many of them are close to each other. Then with some algorithm, then they make a decisions. Okay, fine. So this is how biometric example of biometrics. Okay, so I want to show this is that you can see that the matching may not be 100% correct. Okay, there's some chances that the person is authentic but get rejected. Okay, and there are some chances that someone is not authentic and then get accepted. Okay, right. So that is the difference between a password. Okay, is this one. Okay. Okay. For password, okay, if a password is correct, you always accept. Okay. For biometric, even if a person is not authentic, there are some chances, there are certain probability that you reject it. Okay. So that is a probability of error, or what we call non-match error. Okay, person is authentic, but it doesn't match. Okay, and password and biometric also has this feature. It can't be changed. It cannot be revoked. You cannot change your password biometrics, and you don't have to remember. Okay, this for usability. Okay, and it's not possible for someone to pass the password to another person. Can you pass your password to another person? No, you cannot. Not password. You cannot pass your biometric data. So unlike password, there are these two noise, non-match and match, false match rate and false non-match rate. False match rate is that someone who is not authentic, but the system says that it's authentic. This one is someone who is authentic, but the system says that it's not authentic. Okay. So a lot of time the system will design based on a threshold. Okay. There's a threshold to adjust. Okay. Threshold range from 0 to 1. 0 means that you'll be very lenient, accept everyone. Okay. 1 means that very strict, reject everyone. Okay. If you are very lenient and you accept everyone, then you have 100% false match rate, right? 100%, right? If that guy is not authentic, he can get in. You reject everyone, even authentic person will be rejected. Okay, so you plot this graph, these two curve rate, usually it will be a graph like that, and we have to adjust it to the place that we want. And what is the threshold? That will be depend on application, and there is a tutorial on this. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, this one you just read. Done. Okay, this one we'll do it next week. But two-factor authentication we'll do it next week. Okay, just to let you, just to say something about this password. Okay, one example of this. Okay. So some of your secondary school, okay, when you every morning to get into the school campus compounds, you have to scan your fingerprint, right? Okay, so that if a student is late, they can send an email, or student didn't appear, can send email to the parents, so for the safety of the student. Okay, yeah. Okay. So now you may ask, why use fingerprint? Why not just pass the student smart card? Okay, then every morning, instead of scanning your fingerprint, you scan the smart card, the card, right? Or key in your PIN. Isn't that much easier and more hygienic? Right? So why we have to use fingerprint instead of that? Okay, that is because of this one. Okay, this one. Okay, that the school is worried that you ask your friend to mark attendance for you, right? So now with fingerprint, then it's not possible. Okay, so this is what we say, that biometrics meet a requirement of what we say he prove who you are. Okay, biometric prove who you are. Okay, next week we'll talk about two-factor authentication. There are 3 types of factors: something you know, something you have, who you are. Okay. With that, see you next week. Yeah.